All right, cab's coming off. About to clean the frame, repaint it, cab mounts, and then just have the cab ready to come up so we can set the motor down and put all the exhaust on it. We don't normally pull cabs to do engine installs, but with this being a pretty large custom build with a lot of wiring and fuel system work, I'm gonna go ahead and take it out and just clean everything. Train's all dirty, but getting there. All right, guys, we got everything off the frame. I got the trans harness off, pulled all the wiring and everything out from the frame rail. But I am pulling the factory fuel lines off. I got all the lines, old lines off and fast. So we're gonna take it outside now and power wash it, clean it up, paint it. All right, guys, we're starting off the battery reroute or relocation. Battery tray's gone, bracket's gonna get messed with. This tray's gone. We're gonna put a plate here, or aluminum plate there, and I'm not sure what we're doing over here yet, but we got this 500 amp fuse block that's going in here. So power from the batteries in the bed will come up to this post. ECM power, alternator power, or alternator will go here, and then this is for the ECM and everything in the truck. And it's gonna run over and come over here and splice into the factory one. So we're getting that work done right now. All right, guys, here's a little update. Just 2 weekends after we pulled the cap off, we're now making traction bars using 140 wall pipe, which is really, really nice. Palm joints with bushings in them, so that'll be really nice. We got a plate made for the FICM relocation and the Max 4 nitrous controller. And then we'll have relays for all the solenoids. We're gonna have a purge. I need to get one more, a spool, and then a main kit. Battery relocation's completely done. I think it came out quite well. So you got new frame ground. I'm waiting for some more loom to show up so I can finish all that stuff up. But that came out pretty good. Got the track bars mounted. I got this side finished up. Still got to do the other side. I have the brackets tacked on there. But it's at the same angle as the drive shaft. We're able to set preload on it, so no more wheel hop. But it's coming along pretty good. It's kind of hard to record this stuff as I'm doing it. But if we come up here in the bed, see battery relocation all done. I gotta throw a grommet down there in the bottom of the toolbox, but that's done, and keep y'all updated. There we go. Track bars are welded on. I had to take them off so I could put it on the lift, but they're made up, welded together. Brackets are welded on. The only thing I got left to do is weld this bracket on this side, but that's done. Now we're having fun doing a little bit of electrical. So everything coming off of this plate, so it'll be the relays for the nitrous solenoids, the Max 4 nitrous controller will be coming down through here. The FICM, 3 FICM plugs will come down through here. So everything will be tucked up and hidden under this plate. But I'm currently working on getting this stuff done. I got the factory ECM and everything for the cab and electronic side of the body here, and then this is coming from the battery relocation. From the block on that side, it runs up and over and comes down. I gotta splice these together, and I'm also adding another wire to run from here up and over to my distribution block. But we're getting that done. I got everything coming out of the cab tied up here until I get the motor back in it. And then I could loom this and tie that up. And then all of the factory plugs and everything will go back where they were. But everything here coming through this harness from the cab for rock lights, and everything for the nitrous is here in this one. So I got the big solenoid, and then spool, and then I gotta run one more wire for a purge. But we're getting there. Slowly, little by little. Fuel system's wrapped up. We ended up with a -10 feed into the pump, running -8 feed line, -8 return line off the pump, and that runs up. The regulated return is coming back through this -6 from the front of the truck into a compression fitting, and we're gonna run that into the factory return metal, the hard line, into the fuel hat. And then the pump return down here, this -8 line coming through, it's going into the factory feed line right here. So I'm just waiting on a 180-degree fitting from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then I can finish the fuel system up. I used to return back into the sump, but a common problem is I was getting aeration from the fast coming back up through here, and then it was drawing aerated fuel into the pump, you know, kind of defeating the purpose. So no longer returning through the sump, but getting there. Fuel system will be wrapped up here in a little while, and just kind of waiting on parts for everything else. I'm still waiting on one Heim end on the track bars. But we got these units welded. Just waiting for this one in. But soon, should be back together. Got the block back from the machine shop, finally. So the block's been fully machined. It's got line honed. They knocked the cam bushings in it for me, and they're coated. The cylinders all got honed. It got decked, so it's completely cleaned, machined, and ready to go. We ended up drilling or knocking out all the freeze plugs on this side of the oil galleys and on the bottom side of the oil galleys. Tapped 3/8 and then 1/2-inch holes in them. And then the only parts I'm waiting to be able to put the engine back together is plugs. 1/2-inch plugs put in here. Commonly in a higher horsepower application, these trucks can leak through the freeze plug in the oil galley and end up starving your lifters and starving the pump and the engine for oil. In essence, it'll leak internally. So throwing some pipe thread plugs in it just to be safe. But as soon as I get that, I can throw this in the parts washer, get it clean, and get it ready to assemble. All of the rods measured, the cranks measured, pistons are measured, rings. Got the crank sitting right there for it. So as soon as I get those plugs in, we can get rolling on this. Hoping to do that next weekend. And then we can get it put in the truck. And then I'll have to have a buddy come down and TIG weld the exhaust for me for the gate. Gonna try and do it in the collector and then run it to the downpipe. Don't really want it to dump under the truck and cover everything in soot, but she's ready to go. Just waiting on parts. So one thing I did finish today is my new and improved engine harness. Stripped all the factory loom off, pulled a bunch of wiring out of it that we're no longer going to be using. Let me lay this out here. So I've completely reloomed it all the way through. I've added a couple wires to it for a oil pressure sensor that I can actually read instead of just the factory check switch. We pulled out all the wiring for the fan because that's going to be ran to a fan controller. Here's the wiring for that switch. Still need to put the back of this plug on. And then through the harness, we pulled out all the wiring for the FICM because FICM's now going to be over here. So it no longer needs to run all the way down the harness and come out right here. So, or excuse me, come out right here. So once I determine the mounting of the FICM, then I can cut this harness, move the FICM connector, and get that wired and loomed. And then I also have to rewire, or excuse me, make a jumper harness from the FICM down up the engine to the injector harness. I've put 4 Deutsch connector plugs up here. It'll be sitting right about here, so it'll come off the engine. And I haven't decided if it's going to run forward and down and across with the engine harness, or if it's going to come up and over and down. But in some way, it needs to get over here to the FICM to be able to plug in. And I haven't determined if this is going to be standing up higher and the plugs will come up from underneath, or if I'm going to cut a hole under the plate for the plugs to just plug in under here. I think that might be a little bit cleaner and keep all the wiring under here and hidden. So just need to figure that out. Kind of have a general mounting location also for the nitro solenoids. Not 100% sure if this is where they'll end up. And I also have one more to add. So we'll have a spool jet, a main kit, and then we'll also have a purge jet right here, or excuse me, purge solenoid here. That'll either purge out of the cowl or out of the front grill. But it's getting there slowly. But battery relocation's all done. Running a 100 amp fuse and a fuse block here, and then the alternator wire that was just for mock-up, that'll get taken off, and I'm going to use the existing alternator wire in the harness that I've made longer, so to reach. But that's done. I have the rear cover mount mocked up on the transmission for the starter location. And then we have that 4-aught cable running all the way back to the bed. We've redone the grounds, factory grounds right here. I finally got lumen, so I'll be luming this up today. But we have new grounds. I need to add one more ground from this side of the engine to the frame over here. And then a ground from the same place up to the distribution block here. But getting there. We've also done S&B cab mounts, just because we had the cab off, why not? And then the rock light wiring will be completely redone with Deutsch connectors, everything hidden, and it'll be attached to the inside of the fender well. So if I ever need to take it out, I can just reach in here, unplug it from a Deutsch connector, the whole thing will come out in one piece. Won't have to worry about cutting any wiring or taking any connectors apart or anything like that. Back here, it's all getting completely redone. But you can see here, the 4-aught running up through the bed. All of this will get gone and hidden and tucked up behind the truck, so you won't be able to see any of it at all. Truck's filthy. It's been sitting outside for 6 months now. Whew. Looking good. Getting there. Little by little. Projects like this take tremendous amounts of time. But we are cutting no corners. So hopefully we'll get it done here in 2 or 3 weeks. Try to make the first event of the season. But stay tuned. Oh, after that hot retorque, started getting her back together. Got the glow plug module mounted up front. The accessory wiring board is getting there. Still got to wire the fans, and then I got this little pigtail to run an extra sensor through the harness that just ran through the harness. But gates back there. Got the extension harness in, and then that little single Deutsch connector right here is just for the shielding in the factory injector harness, so that'll just get grounded out. Airbox is in, cleaned up. I'm gonna try and clean up a little bit of the wiring over here on it and all this stuff, just to try and tuck it up, kind of hide it. Got to plug this line off since we're no longer running the valve to the heater core. It's deleted, and since this manifold does not have the EGR flow through, we took the outlet off of the oil core, and it runs up to the heater core and then down through the front back into the water pump. And then that also got rid of the crossover tube on the back, so this is just a single hose running to the bottom of the degas bottle. We got solenoids mounted. Not sure if this is where they're going to stay. Haven't really made my mind up yet. We got the purge jet welded in, and then we got the two kits welded in. The bungs welded on, and they're installed. But move the alternator wire down back here. It's running down. This is all going to get tied up back and zip tied, and it's running across. And once the fender line is laying in here, all of this wiring, all this stuff's going to get zip tied and bunched up and look clean sitting on top of the fender liner. But we're close, hoping by the end of the week she'll be running on the road. So not a whole lot more to do. Still gonna do all the nitrous wiring, the fan wiring, but I can't really do that till I have the fan in it, just to know where the controller's gonna be. But as soon as I get that done, it'll go in. So very, very happy with how it's coming out. So I'll keep you posted.